Hey, the EPA, I'm here with comedian Robert Yasamura, Hank Thompson, and Steph Zamorano, and also...
And magic.
So I don't know if you've been following the EPA as much as I have. And when I say follow, I mean, on Twitter. But the EPA came under some serious corporate influence under the Barack Obama administration. In fact, they weren't following their own science when it came to climate change. The EPA under Barack Obama. In fact, here's an article from the New York Times. It says reversing course. The EPA now, it doesn't say now, I'm going to insert now. The EPA now says fracking can contaminate drinking water. What? Why would they have to reverse their course? Did the science change? Well, what happened was the Environmental Protection Agency has concluded that hydraulic fracturing, the oil and gas extraction technique, also known as fracking, has contaminated drinking water in some circumstances. According to the final version of a comprehensive study first issued in 2015. I'm pretty sure we reported on that study in 2015 on this show, and what I remember reporting about it was that the EPA was muddying the waters about fracking and its trouble with fracking. They were ignoring science. And the new version, so now they came out with a new version, is far more worrying than the first, which found no evidence that fracking systemically contaminates water supplies. In a significant change, that conclusion was deleted from the final study.
Can't believe that was a conclusion.
That was a conclusion of the Barack Obama EPA. Fracking doesn't contaminate water. So you understand how bad our government is now, right? That was under Barack Obama. I'm leaning as hard as I can.
And I'm a big fan of Obama, and I got to tell you that is horrifying.
Yeah,
that's one of the most condemning things I've ever heard, because it's so obvious. Like fracking changed the economy.
Yes, it did.
Fracking is what basically has fueled the climb out of the recession. It has helped immeasurably.
Look at North Dakota. It's a lot of fracking everywhere.
But
Texas.
But clearly, it's so clear that the EPA, the actual report, was suppressed in favor of fracking because it was helping the economy grow. And because they're in bed with their donor. I mean, Hillary Clinton was a big fracker. She wants to export it all. Well, she wants to be the middleman between the fracking industry and the rest of the world. She wants to. I actually would disagree with that, because the thing is,
she said it.
Well, the thing is that no. But what I mean is that you could find just as many people who would pay you not to frack. Like Exxon would be happy to see that their price per gallon of oil went up because fracking got quashed. So I think that if you're a politician, you can get money coming and going from this. I think that the major reason why everybody was so interested in fracking is because it exploded the economy, and there are a lot of countries in the world that it would fix a lot of economic issues very quickly.
It could help. Yeah, I get it.
And it gets us off. I mean, look, we should also note, like, fracking gets us off coal.
So that's that lie of it's a bridge, it's a clean bridge to the future. Yeah, it's a 40...
I don't believe that, but I'm just saying it gets us off coal. I don't think it's a good thing. Clearly, it not only does it mess with drinking water immeasurably,
earthquakes,
but it also causes earthquakes, and those are
methane, which it releases,
which is a huge
global. It's a climate changer.
Yeah.
Maybe they should use this phrase like fracking gets us off. But I'm waiting, Jimmy, for President Obama to come out and say, we poisoned some folks.
Hey, we poisoned some folks. Like he said about torture. Well, we tortured some folks. Hey, we poisoned some folks. So let me go on. So that sentence, that no evidence that fracking systemically contaminates water, was deleted from the final study. It goes on. EPA scientists chose not to include that sentence. The scientists concluded it could not be quantitatively supported, said Thomas A. Burke, the EPA science advisor and deputy assistant administrator of the agency's Office of Research and Development. The report, the largest and most comprehensive of its kind to date on the effects of fracking on water supply, comes as President-elect Donnie Trump has vowed to expand fracking and roll back existing regulations on the process. His choice to run the EPA, Scott Pruitt, the Attorney General from Oklahoma, has built a career on fighting EPA regulations on energy exploration. Among Mr. Trump's key energy policy advisors are Harold Hamm, the chief executive of Continental Resources, an energy firm that has been at the forefront of the fracking boom, and Representative Kevin Cramer, Republican of North Dakota, a state transformed by fracking, which is what you've been talking about.
Right.
Its economy boom. Those are high-paying jobs, the whole thing. Now that team must contend with the scientific findings that urge caution in an energy sector that Mr. Trump wants to untether. Mr. Burke said that the new report found evidence that fracking has contributed to drinking water contamination in all stages of the process. That's a lot different than last year's report.
By the way, they're making it sound like there's going to be pushback. There's not going to be pushback. Because just what you said, there are no senators, there are no congressmen of any pull or any number that are going to push back on fracking. They just aren't.
You're right. It doesn't look like it.
It's too good for their local economies. They're not going to do it. If the EPA isn't genuinely independent, doesn't do science, no one will.
Acquiring water to be used for fracking, mixing the water with chemical additives to make the fracking fluids, injecting the chemical fluids underground, and collecting the wastewater that flows out of the fracking wells after injection, and storing the used wastewater. So in every step of that process, clean drinking water is contaminated. At every step. When they extract the water to be used for fracking, acquiring the water, when they mix it with the chemicals, when they inject it in underground, and when they collect the wastewater and put it in. At every step, they're contaminating clean drinking water.
As well as contaminating the air, as well as also creating radioactive waste. It's
horrible.
Earthquakes.
Yep.
And this was all suppressed under
which, by the way, also creates another drinking water problem because you can also damage underground aquifers.
Yep. So this was the Barack Obama administration not wanting to talk about that. Still, Mr. Burke said that the report remained full of gaps and holes, and that the issue required far more study. He declined to offer policy recommendations based on the study, saying that it will. So this is Barack Obama's own EPA guy, still in the pocket of the fossil fuels. Still, this is Barack Obama's EPA guy. So they finally come out and said, okay, we're going to stop lying about the science, but I'm going to pretend that I can't draw any conclusions from it. I'm going to pretend we need to study it more. Like we need to study marijuana. Barack Obama wants to study marijuana. We got to study fracking more. Barack Obama's a moderate Republican.
It looks like with fracking, they're just testing the water.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Based on the study,
Bam.
He saying that it will. He said he declined to offer policy recommendations based on the study, saying that it will give a lot of information to help communities and decision makers do better in protecting water supplies. You should do that when you read that the whole way. He said that saying it will give a lot of information to help communities and decision makers do a better job at protecting water supplies.
Because what a great job they've done so far.
So what they want to do is kick the can down the road to local governments so you can never fight back. Fracking is subject to only light federal regulations. The Obama administration has put forth one rule intended to protect water from fracking waste. But that rule applies only to fracking on public lands, which hold about 100,000 fracking wells, representing about only 10% of all fracking in the United States. So he put in one regulation to help safeguard clean drinking water, and it only applies to 10% of the fracking wells in the goddamn country anyway.
And that's not even a half.
And that's not even a half measure.
Don't pee in the water.
That regulation.
That was the regulation.
Don't pee in the water. That's not even a half measure. The vast majority of fracking occurs on state or private land and is governed by state and local regulations. Given EPA Administrator nominee Scott Pruitt's record of fighting fracking regulations, it will be important during the confirmation process for senators to ask him if he will follow the recommendations of his agency's scientists or continue to rely on industry spin.
What's
Yeah.
the difference? I still don't see the difference.
Yeah, right?
I mean,
The EPA was spinning. So Barack Obama's EPA was spinning for fossil fuels, and now they see Donnie Tannen's coming in. So maybe we should tell a little bit of truth before we leave. Maybe we should tell people that, yes, fracking does contaminate groundwater at every step of the process. Maybe we should tell them that. Should we tell them what we should do about it? No, because our donors don't want us to.
I always find that so bizarre that they fracking. They'll champion fracking at every turn, and then they'll be like, "But we need more crude oil, light sweet crude oil." And I'm like, "No, you don't. Clearly, you don't. Like, you can have one or the other. You can fuck the environment one way or the other, but you can't have both. Like, for what possible reason do you need more light sweet crude when it's not selling for any money? You undercut yourself. Like, what are you talking about?"
Hey, we're doing another live Jimmy Dore show the day after Christmas, December 26th. We're doing a live Jimmy Dore show in Burbank, California. Come see it. There's a link for tickets right there.